So here's a perfect example of the Fold 7 next to the iPhone, right? And there it is. You can just tell by not just the design but the screen size. Okay. And you can clearly see the size when it's open, but we'll get to the good stuff in a second. But before we do, you can tell, like, if you're in a car, not driving as a passenger, or you're at a place that you're just sitting down, or you're in the comfort of your own home, as you can tell, the screen will be open. Of course, none of us are going to be walking on the sidewalks with it open or walking wherever, because yes, if you drop that, the chances of it breaking if it lands it's of course, not 100% it's going to break. But you know this. Everyone knows that. That's why we don't do it. And before we get started, here's another clip. It's just you're at a restaurant, you're at a cafe, you open up the tablet, you're sitting there, you're on a table, you understand it. That's the reason why. So yes, people will use it when they're sitting down, when they're in a place where they're understanding their surroundings. If they drop the phone, it's just more of a grip. It's more of useful to do it in this way. And this is just for like a notes application, but this screen is open right now, and you can just tell how big and wide that screen is. So let's go on to the real part now. And here we go. There it is. Maps are open. You can clearly tell. That's the maps. You can clearly tell on the other side, TikTok. Or you can do Instagram or whatever you use. You can clearly see both of them like you would side by side if you had two phones next to each other. And this can come in handy. It's very good for multitasking, convenient, efficient. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can clearly tell how that can work very well. Now, on a regular slab phone, this is how it would look. You'd have your content on top, and the other app, whatever you would be doing if you're checking out, if you're on Maps, and you can just tell the difference. It's just not the same. Because with a foldable open, you would have that phone, and then another phone right next to it would just make the top either in split mode. You would have the entire thing. And remember, this is an 8-inch. So yes, 4 inches side by side. It would, if you put it in landscape mode, it would be the same thing as having a full-size phone, 6.5 to 6.8, or even 6.9, side by side. And here's another perfect example. You have Maps on this side, and then you can go search whatever you want on this side. Maybe you're in YouTube. You can just use this as just you have another phone. You can go to Google, your camera, YouTube, any app, and you have the Maps open just looking at whatever it is. Or maybe you found a restaurant. Just go over here to this side, and you can open up and find out all, the reviews or the menu, order on this side, look where you're going on this side. And this would be, if you're in a vehicle, it'd be more for passengers, but I'm just saying, if you had Spotify, you would just go open Spotify, use the Maps at the same time. There's no other phone that can really do that with the full display. Because once you start to cut these in half, it's less information. It's not as useful. And so, maybe you found it, and just like this person said, maybe they went to TikTok in order to go on social media so they can see whatever the person says in that area, that whatever restaurant they're looking for. What if they made a video about it? And you can just go to go to Maps, look at whatever restaurant pops up, go on to a social media app, and then look up whatever videos and stuff that they're doing, and you can just see. And that's at the same time. Now, if you were going to do that on a slab phone, you would have to minimize the Maps and have it a little square. But the same thing, that's what I'm saying. You're just doing that to minimize. So you either have to swipe up, or you have to physically do something to move that to minimize it, or switch out and swap, and then go back to this. And yes, you can do it split screen on some phones. On the iPhone, you can't. But that's why I zoom in and out so you could see. It would be like this, and you would only get the bottom half or the top half. But you wouldn't have two full size, side by side apps open full screen. That's the efficiency. And then I'm going to go ahead and play it so you guys can see it. There we go. And another way that I like or that I enjoy is also pretend one day you wanted to do it, use the full screen. You can have one screen that's a full screen, and then you can have a smaller, just like you would with the, what do they call it? PIP, with a picture in picture, and have this screen, another app open or whatever, and a smaller, but then have the other app open just in full screen, which you could tell is so much larger, and it's so huge. Now, if we try to do it this way, this is what you would be seeing on a regular phone, right there. That's what you would be seeing on a regular phone, slab phone. But see how much you miss out? You'd have the front one, and I can't point at it. Hold on. You would have the front one. Where am I at here? Oh yeah. If you'd have the front app open, you'd only have this much display. So you wouldn't be, that's where the tricky part comes, because you wouldn't have the back. So you would have to switch that because it takes up so much of the room. You would have to minimize this one a lot smaller because you would only have this side. But of course, with a full screen of a foldable and the ability with a foldable, you have so much more room, so much more just everything to do. That's what I'm saying. There's no comparison between being a full. That's why it's a multitasking. It's not just, people keep thinking it's social media. Oh, you're going to get a big screen for streaming, right? So for like YouTube videos or streaming services, movies and stuff, it's like, yeah, that's media and entertainment, but it's not what it's used for. It's for multitasking like this, to have so much more information in one place at one time, that it's so familiar that you have more perceptive or perception of whatever your mindset is, right? It's very hard to picture how big the Grand Canyon really is because you're only in one section of it, right? And that's the way it is. Like, you don't know with a regular slab phone, but once you have something like this, you can really tell, like, oh, it's so much more to it.